Hello there. Decided to do a video prior to receiving my new SGS tool cabinet. And now, after a lot of deliberation, I made a purchase and it should be here within the next few days. And the reason I've ordered the cabinet is because my tools are somewhat scattered and it makes life very difficult. Now I'll show you quite just what I mean here. We'll just have a quick look at what I've got at the moment. Okay, so here we go. Workbench, somewhat cluttered to say the least, but I have got tools in trays on top of my cabinet, in trays. Cabinet is pretty well full, but the problem is that it's tool upon tool and quite difficult. Working tools, boxes of bits. Under the workbench there are one or two things stored, but they can probably stay where they are. They're quite heavy, biggish tools. But I have got two toolboxes hidden away under there which I do need to access regularly, and that can be a real pain. But the biggest problem is never knowing quite what you've actually got, because it's not easily accessible. Now, because of limited space, I've actually decided to go for a 26-inch wide cabinet, which I'm hoping will fit on the end of this line here in this convenient corner, and that will actually reduce the amount of usable garage floor space by a minimum, because one of the problems here is that you have somewhat limited space to work. So there we have it. Now the next video will be with the cabinet installed. I won't bother with unpacking, etc. And hopefully by then I will have some tools in the cabinet, and you can see, and I will find out just how many tools I'm able to get in there and whether I can empty my steel toolboxes and get those tools a little bit more accessible. So I'm quite excited to see the next video. So here it is. That's the main 26-inch bottom cabinet on a pallet strapped on with polythene, looking quite good, no problems. Here is the top box, again well packed in cardboard, still looking good, no problems. So a little bit of scuffing, but it's not gone through, nothing to worry about. Just in case anybody was wondering, I did see somebody ask, where are these made? Well, I think that's the answer there, made in PRC. So here we go, next video will be installing the cabinets. I thought it was worth noting, I'll just show this, that both the items are actually well packed with moulded polystyrene top plate, and looking down inside the box there are also vertical polystyrene corner pieces down each vertical corner. Same with the base cabinet, that has also been packaged carefully with pre-formed polystyrene. Again, worth a note here, the wheels were packed securely in cardboard within one of the drawers, and as you can see they're a pretty substantial looking wheel, hard, it's not soft rubber, it looks like a nylon plastic, pretty substantial ironwork on them, and they come with all the screws of course, and key and handbook. Hello again. So now we have the cabinet installed in its final resting place, and I think you'll agree it looks very smart, fits in nicely across the back there, and I think it's going to do its job well. Hello there. So we'll start now having a closer look at the cabinet. We'll start with the top box, and we'll have a quick look at this. The top hinge is up and there is a lock. Now the actual lock, it locks the top, not actually the drawers, so it's simply a little catch that comes up. The action of locking the drawers is obtained through dropper bars which are fixed to the actual lid. There's 3 of them across the back here. The lid is on a piano hinge, and these little dropper rods, they drop down as you shut the lid, engage with the back of the drawer and lock the drawers, and then by using the key you lock the lid. It is important to remember that if the drawers aren't pressed fully home, the dropper rods could foul up and not engage properly. So it's important that the drawers are always shut properly before you actually try dropping the top down. The top is just sheet steel. It's not cheap and nasty. It's rigid enough to be to feel reasonably comfortable. All the edges are actually rolled over, so there's no sharp edges. All these edges here, they've all been rolled over, which stiffens them up and takes away any nasty edges. The handle on the side here, again, it's a good quality piece of, it's a pressed heavy gauge bracket bolted on, and I think that's more than adequate. Interestingly, we do get a tray, quite a useful little tool tray that comes with the top, and all of the drawers are equipped with a lining, a plastic lining mat, which it's not over thick, but it's more than adequate, and it does make a huge difference. Now the drawers, they're all on, as you probably know, roller races, and they work very well. They do have a click, and that's fully shut, and that's how they need to be shut before you actually close the top lid. As I said, the locking bars can foul up. They're all exactly the same. They all have this click, and the larger drawers are similar thing. Shut them with a click. Right, the bottom cabinet, similar locking mechanism. Unlock, drawers open, click into place, lock, and it's locked. These again are on roller ball bearing slides, and they actually work quite well. It doesn't seem to matter what sort of weight you get in them. They're all I've got them fairly full. Here we've got quite a few spanners and things in there, and it seems to cope very well with that sort of weight, and in fact in some respects they work better with a bit of weight because they close easier. They're all pretty useful. Now here I've got actually a set of sockets in there. Now they are actually quite weighty, and now out of interest I did actually weigh this socket set, and it came in at about 6 or 7 kilograms. Now if you relate that to the capacity of the drawer, which I think is 20 kilograms, even loaded with a fairly hefty socket set and Stilson and 1 or 2 other tire levers and goodness knows what, it's well within its capability. These drawers on the upper cabinet, they're slightly, the rating is slightly less for those, in that they're about 15 kilograms, or even so it's more than enough, I would say, for your average workshop situation such as I've got. In the bottom we have got a couple of deeper drawers which I've tended to use for sort of woodworking equipment, and they're pretty useful for that. Wood planes, drills you could get in there because of the extra depth. Now on the bottom here we have got the locking wheels, and They are released by just lifting the catch up and then locked clicking down, and they do seem to work quite well. You'll notice that most of the edges, as I've said, are folded, which gives them that little bit of extra rigidity. And here, for example, this edge from the, I think it's the side panel, it's folded over, which gives it rigidity and strength. And a nice touch here, we have got a nicely thick rubber mat on the top, which would be very useful if you didn't have the top box and you were using this surface to put tools on, because you wouldn't really want to be throwing them around on a tin surface. So overall, what are my thoughts about this setup? I think it fits in here nicely. It does exactly what I want it to do. I've managed to empty my two steel toolboxes, and I still haven't reached its full capacity yet. And I think I've not had experience of expensive tool chests, but I think this is more than adequate for what I need, and I'm quite happy with it. Thank you.